Hello and pleasant days here on Zack Miller Live, episode 14. That's a 1 and a 4. I hope you all are doing wonderful today. Thank you so much for your time. If you're wondering, I'm trying to stand out and be different. I don't even know what kind of voice that is. But thank you all for being here today. It's a rainy day, so I'm having a interesting hair day. I want to talk about something that I don't think is talked enough about. And it really matters. When you think of the word or the words personal brand, what do you think? What comes to your mind? When you think of a personal brand, is that something that you're putting attention to? Because you should. Think about it. Everything that happens in your life, even if you're associated with a business or brand, the people that consume you are consuming your personal brand. And your personal brand lives forever. I was having an interview this morning for the 1004 show with someone I just met just a couple days ago. His name's Mike Murphy from Success Series. That'll be coming out in a few weeks. But what I found that was so interesting about our conversation is, my conversation with Mike, is that I agree with what he's saying. And you've heard me say this before about compound interest and the internet, you need to get started. But it's really true with your personal brand as well. Your personal brand is so important because ultimately people fall in love with you and maybe the skills that you have. And if they don't like what you're saying, guess what happens? They don't like your personal brand. And so while I continue to try and build mine up, I want it to have fun and flair and be interesting. That's why we got the fun little I'm Live Zack Miller Live logo. That's why I do this every weekday. I guys want you guys to come in a little bit of my life and see this. But Mike was right when I was talking to him. And so many others are right too with your personal brand. If you do something today associated with the topic, and then weeks or months or years later, someone comes back to you and you've changed that concept up, or you've changed who you are up, while that is okay, you want to make sure that the intangibles around your personal brand continue to be there over and over again. So what are the words when someone thinks your name comes up? And are those the words that are correct? What are the words that I want people to associate with me? You guys have heard me ask this before, like, when you think of Zack Miller, what do you think? Right? Hopefully not super mean things, but if they are, then it happens. But your personal brand is something that you do need to do. And it's something that I think over time, mine has organically grown. But I think I could have done a better job of making an effort to connect with more people, like you, to connect with more brands, to build up the actual name behind, or the name brand Zack Miller. And I think that's important because at the end of the day, people gravitate to people. People gravitate towards people that they can trust. For the longest time, Apple was Steve Jobs. People liked the name behind Apple. They liked that guy, Steve Jobs. Right? And I think it's so important that you think about your personal brand and who you want to be as your personal brand, right? For me, I want the amazing locks, fun-spirited, exciting champion, black shirt wearing, jean rocking, as my hype man, Desmond Varner, said, Fitbit wearing, except I don't own a Fitbit anymore. What are the words associated with your brand, right? Those are or you. What are the words that you want people to associate when they hear your name? And are you doing a good job of telling the story around you? What are you best at? So how can you make this practical, right? Think about what you want people to associate. What are you best at? And what are some big wins? What are you best at? What do you want people to associate with you? And finally, what are your big wins? And can you put all of those together and tell the story of your personal brand? In a nutshell, that's what I recommend, right? So what are the words with me that I want people to think about? I don't know, tenacious, resilient, never quitting, helpful, humble, willing. Probably some other words too, like super competitive. What are some things about me? I don't know. I left high school a 4-time swimming record holder. I don't really care about that anymore. Yeah, maybe the big thing is, soon to be majority owner of an amusement park. Have interviewed Damon John, was featured in Entrepreneur Magazine, raised cash from the team behind the team that started the Weather Channel, was invited to the White House. Those are some big wins. Helped tens of thousands of people. Those are big wins. Those are things that I want when people are like, oh, that's interesting. Published author. All those things you put them together, they're important. But then also, what are the words that people associate with you? I believe that a lot of the things that I just said people would, because I use them because when I ask them, that's what they say. So what do people think about you? Or what are the, when they think about you, those words associated with you? That's 2. 3, what are the big wins? If you're thinking about, if you've been on the fence about creating a personal brand, I don't think it's really like anything other than just making sure that you're telling your story correctly and positioning yourself correctly. And so start doing it. Start doing it tonight. Take an inventory of those things that I just said and make sure that the story that is you're telling, because ultimately it's going to help you do whatever you want to do in life. So personal brands are not going away. And if you want to get better in life, if you want to be the anomaly, you really have to think about you and selling you. Because no one else is going to. No one else is going to sell you. No one else wakes up in the morning, and goes, you know what? I'm excited for Zack Miller today. As much as that hurts for me to say, it just doesn't happen. People aren't waking up going, hey, I need to check out Zack Miller today. They just don't. But when they do think about me, what are the words that they think? And am I telling the story around it? So that's it. Personal branding 101. Those are the 3 things that I think are important that you need to think about doing. Start writing them down. Start asking your friends, family, following, network, what they think when they hear your name. And start telling a better story. Boom, 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 boom. Thanks for joining us today for the Zack Miller Show, episode 14. That was me trying to get my Jared Beasley on. If you guys haven't checked out Mid Best, the plug of the day, they have some awesome, fun songs. Episode 14 of Zack Miller Live. We checking out. Thanks for being with us today. Boom, boom, shakalaka, woo, Yahtzee. See ya.